Hi, how are you? I was thinking what I was going to talk about today. My husband went to take our son for a car ride, and then I was like, okay, it's time to do a video because I haven't seen in here and do a video. Last week I was just super busy with work, and then so much it's going on in the past week that then I was like, well, I have my thoughts on everything, but at the same time, you have to give yourself time to chew on what is going on, because I feel that when something happens, all of us, this is just like a human nature thing. The first thing we do is something very visceral. So it's like our first reaction. And it comes from instinct, from our upbringing, it comes from our own personal experiences. So, or even what we believe or what we follow, right? So I feel that for me to do a video on a first visceral reaction, it wouldn't be fair, because then as all those emotions settle, then your brain start thinking, well, what about this, what about that? And that's what I'm usually, even when I'm, for example, commenting on something on social media, even as I'm typing, I'm changing. So sometimes I'm typing and it looks like I'm typing forever. No, it's because then I pause and then I think again, and I'm feeling the same way 5 minutes later. And that's a very good self-controlling tool that I feel that everyone should practice nowadays. Because with everything that is happening in the world, I feel and I know that what I may have said last year, it may not apply now, because I change, life change. I grow as a human constantly. And when I say I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about you too, because it's a natural process. So I always feel that it's best to kind of like, yes, have that visceral moment, but just keep it, to yourself, and then let that settle in, because I'm guilty myself. Sometimes I just go boop and just say whatever, and then later I'm like, yeah, but I probably should have said this, or now I also think about these too, so it's not that you double guess yourself, it's just that you have to know that what you're feeling in the moment, it's mainly being fooled by the visceral emotion. And it's good to keep the emotion, but then you have to take it down and analyze it, and that's where your amygdala. So your amygdala, it's in the back of your brain, and it's what controls your emotions. I'm a very raw person. I don't edit the videos. I'm just sitting in here. I'm just talking, right? I didn't write anything. I didn't think what I was going to talk. I have a list of items, related to special needs topics that I put, for example, talk about, cleaning, strollers, feeding, but I didn't write what I was going to talk. So I just have a topic and I go for it. So for me, being a person that I just, go on the moment, I have through the years, because again, I'm not 15, I'm not 20, I'm not 30. It's part of adulting that you do have to do some self-regulation, because how I'm going to be teaching and telling my son to self-regulate when I'm not doing that myself. So you have to lead by example, right? And so there has been just so much going on the past week that I feel that touching base on anything, and especially because I don't know in what part of the world you may be, and things are happening everywhere, right? I just wanted to say, what, try to self-regulate. And self-regulation comes in forms of meditation, taking a shower, taking a walk, watching a show that you enjoy, paint your nails, do your makeup, clean. I cannot stress this enough. I know that it sounds funny, but cleaning is such a good meditation in so many aspects. You're not only doing physical work, so you can check your mark as your exercise for the day, but also as you're cleaning, you're focusing on something else, and maybe as you're cleaning and something comes up to your mind, something that has been bothering or something that you have been thinking about. As you're cleaning, you're giving yourself time to self-regulate, and now start giving the amygdala give time to think about, oh yes, maybe this. And that's what I feel that, all of us are guilty, because I'm guilty of this, myself. And that's what I work on, self-regulate. That's my own adulting, growing self person thing. All of us are guilty that the first reaction is a visceral. It's a human thing. But I don't feel that everyone gives themselves time to get the amygdala click in and start chewing on the idea, start giving yourself another what if, or what if. But this is truth, and this is also truth. I feel that most people sometimes just get on one idea and they just get stuck in that, and they don't give themselves time to self-regulate and say, okay, yes, I'm upset. This situation is really upsetting to me. Now let's go deeper. Why is upsetting you? Now, what can you do about it? For how long is going to upset you? Can you help the situation? Can you fix the situation? And you can go deep and deep and deep. And that's how I feel that is the best self-therapy that you can do at home. Especially because I'm going to just say the pandemic, right? This is something that has touched the entire world. Everyone, no matter your background, no matter your social status, no matter your social economic status, everyone has been, affected. But what we can do is how we face things. And I usually see, so for example, I'm just talking about Facebook, right? So I usually see my friends and my family that are either, yes, this is horrible and it's all negative, and this is what we are missing out, and I can just not deal with the idea of a school being different. I cannot deal with the idea of having less money. I'm trying to think about what I see, okay? So I cannot deal with the idea of now, the city or the country opening up, and we're still stuck at home because my mom has cancer, because I have a special needs child, because I recently, I'm going through an illness myself, and that's kind of like what I see around in the negative side. And in the positive, I see, people that are like, everything is great, our economic has not been affected, we continue life as normal, if we get the virus, who cares, if we die, it was our time, if school is, homeschool, it doesn't matter, it's just a school. And you can see that how people usually tend to go one to the other, and I do that too. I'm human. I'm not perfect. No one is perfect, and I can easily go from one side to the other, but you have to try to find a balance yourself. And that's what I feel, that anything that can let you self-control, self-regulate, and say, okay, I'm in this side, how I can move myself to this side. I'm in this side, how I can make myself to go to this side, and meet in the middle. Because then I feel that once you are able to get yourself in the middle, knowing that, okay, so we are in a pandemic, and was I panicking about it? Absolutely. Was I panicking about the economic toll? Yes. But I was panicking more about protecting my son, because that's my first priority. So I will say that first, have your priorities in check. Know what is really important for you. If money is your drive and that's the most important thing for you, then try to make sure that you can shelter that. Now, if your health and your loved ones is the most important thing, try to see how you can shelter that. And so on, try to see what is going to be triggering you the most. But the self-regulation comes from knowing yourself, knowing what it will trigger you, knowing where those triggers are coming from and why. So I feel that the more that you know yourself, the more that you take the time every single day to say, shoot, okay, today I said or I did this, and now hours later I'm thinking that probably it wasn't the best, so then tomorrow I'm going to try better. I'm going to try to make it better. I'm going to try not to do that. And that's how you can keep growing as a human. Knowing what you do right, knowing what you don't do right, and knowing when you just really mess up. And it takes time, it takes effort. No one can tell you, hey, just go and grow on your own. You really just have to, learn what works for you. And the most important thing is that you have to take the time to get to know yourself. It's just how you take the time to get to know somebody new in your life. You have to take the time to get to know yourself and who you are right now. Because I'm not the same person that I was a year ago. I'm not. First of all, because my economics changed. My son, stopped school because of the pandemic. The pandemic hit the world. I got concerned for my loved ones. So I cannot be the same person as I was last year. I was never faced to a pandemic before. So how can I say that I was the same person? I will never be able to be the same person as I was last year. And next year, I'm not going to be the same person as I was this year. So my message is get to know yourself. There's nothing better than knowing and loving yourself for who you are and giving yourself the time to grow. And when I say give yourself time to grow, give yourself time to think about yourself. And that's what I say: clean, cook, do your nails, makeup, watch a movie, anything. But I feel that sometimes, watching a movie can be just more like a distraction because it may not give you the time to think about. But sometimes they do. So for example, I was just watching a new show on Amazon, Upload, I think it is, where he dies and now he's subconscious. It's in a software. Well, that can give you a time if you can take everything in this life to really, give it a second thought. So for example, I was watching that show and then I was talking, I was just thinking about life after life, what I believe about it. And I started thinking about, what will happen if I die, because I'm going to die. All of us are going to die. So the sooner that you realize that, the better chances are going for you to keep growing, understanding that you're not going to be here forever. Now, we don't know when we are going to die, but we do know that we're going to die. So understanding that, then you know that you are with this limited time to grow and do things in this world. So if you just get stuck into the emotion of, for example, saying, what a family member said, that they were upset because they're still stuck at home, and because where they live they still have lockdown, because where they got the virus, it was way after where I live, so they're still in lockdown stage. But they were upset seeing that how in other parts of the world people are going out eating and dining out, and how people are able to go back to work. And, I was talking to them and then I was like, well, that's truth, but they were also in lockdown. So first of all, stop comparing yourself. Your own reality, it's your own. So one of the first things that I feel that I stopped doing years ago, I don't think that I have ever compared myself even before 15. It was that don't do that, because you are your own self. There's no other like you. So, and there's no other reality like yourself, because there's not a single person that is just like you. No one has your same genetic code. No one has been through exactly what you have been through. Now, there's other people maybe similar to you, may go through similar situations, but no situation is equal as the other one, because we're all different. So I was like, you know what? Stop comparing yourself, because they also went through that. And even if they didn't go through that, that's their own reality. That's their own life. And it has nothing to do with yourself. Why? I feel that people always want to be or do what others are doing. I have never understood that. That's just who I am, okay? So no blame to those that want to do that, but I have never understood the keep up with the Joneses type of mentality. It just makes no sense to me. I feel that everyone is the same already. Why would you want to get lost in a pile of just gray color when you can be purple, when you can be pink, when you can be blue? That's how I've always considered life, okay? So anyway, don't let me get sidetracked. So the first thing is that don't compare yourself. And then the other one is that consider why it's bothering you. So, talking to the family member, and then I was like, well, what is really triggering? And they're like, well, yeah, it's because our economic aspect has been okay. So I have the video paused, so then I have to start again. So my family member, say that it was because their economic aspect has been affected. So now they understood that really what was bothering them, it wasn't really, that those people were going out. It was bothering them that their own economic well-being was affected, and they could see how others were able to go back and work again. So that's what is so important, to know yourself, because once you know yourself, you can really see where all those triggering things come through and where they come from. So that's also super important. Knowing yourself, you will be able to know your priorities. And if you have your priorities in line and in check, and you know really what is important in your life, everything else, it doesn't matter. So I can just not stress enough about knowing yourself and giving yourself also time for growth, and give yourself time to be flexible, and do not get stuck on just that mentality. You have to be able to be resilient and quickly move and shift to something else, and give it another thought and give it another perspective, because if not, you're going to always being affected so much by everything. And it's okay to being affected by things, but you don't be overly affected, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have your emotions in your sleeve. No, it's about knowing where things are triggered in yourself, because you do know yourself, and there are things that you're not going to be able to avoid, just period. But having that self-thought of saying, okay, this is triggering because I know myself and because A, B, and C. Now, what can I do in this situation? And just keep giving yourself more thought about that situation, because believe me, one way or another, you're going to end up getting out of that stage and look at it in another way, which hopefully is going to be more positive for you. So I can keep going over on, this subject, and it's just something that it comes with, I don't know, with age, with self-learning, with self-loving. I feel that all it's mixed in there. But again, I don't have answers. I can just share what I do, what I think about, things in general, and then you can just see if that will help you or apply to you, and to, take it with a grain of salt that not all of us are the same. We didn't have the same upbringings. We don't have the same, aspirations in life. And the main thing is that just know that look out for things, watch a video, read a book, something that may help you. So hopefully this video will make you think in another way, because it's always my purpose to say I'm not in the gray pile. I'm a blue. I'm a rainbow, really. So it's just want more people to know that there's other ways how you can do things or see period life. So that's it for today. Well, take care. Bye bye.